remember right as me and this girl were about to do the devil's tango, she ends up seeing my eggplant and decides to say, oh my goodness, Bubba, it's bigger than Drake's. At that moment, I was so confused and lost because I had no idea how this girl knew about Drake's eggplant. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba and welcome back to another insane story. Now, this story takes place a couple months ago, which funny enough, I usually tell stories about back when I was in high school, but this was a very recent thing that happened to me back like literally 2 months ago. And I remember 2 months ago, I was basically in my room, basically planning out story times that I wanted to tell to you guys. And I was sitting inside my Discord server that I usually hang out in when I'm bored or when I'm working on stuff or when I'm basically planning things out with me and my team. And then I remember when I was just sitting in there, basically getting some stories ready, out of nowhere, I remember one of my friends, that's one of my IRL homies, ended up joining the Discord call. And when he joined the call, he ended up saying, yo, Bubba, have you like seen like Twitter lately? Like, bro, it's going crazy right now and you do not want to know why. What do you mean? What's going on? Is something bad happen? Bro, what's happening on Twitter is groundbreaking. Now, at this moment, I remember I was really confused on what he was talking about. So obviously I ended up going on Twitter and I saw that apparently hashtag Drake was trending. Now, obviously at this moment, instead of clicking on it, I ended up just basically saying, oh, Drake's trending. It must have dropped a new album. And then my friend starts laughing and giggling. And at that moment, I thought I was right about my assumption of, you know, basically Drake dropping an album. So I ended up just ignoring it because, to be honest, I like Drake, don't get me wrong, but I don't listen to his music repetitively. But my friend, he kept laughing, thinking that I saw what was going on Twitter that day when I really didn't. But basically, after that moment, basically me and my friend, we started playing video games together and stuff and started interacting with each other to the point where the whole conversation about Drake was basically over. And then I want to say like a couple hours later, I had a dinner date with a girl that I was seeing that I met through Tinder. Now, I know it's depressing that I still use dating apps to meet people, but I'm gonna be honest here, it's really hard to find love or basically find women nowadays since all I do is sit at my desk and tell you guys stories from back in high school. Like, I still need a social life, ladies and gentlemen, and you guys aren't enough. But I mean, if enough of you guys subscribe, then maybe there is. But going on with the story, I remember I was basically just, you know, really excited to actually be going on a date with a girl that I ended up meeting online. Now, when I met her online, I remember me and her, we ended up planning a coffee date around like, I want to say like middle of the afternoon. So I ended up getting dressed up after that whole game session with me and my friend on Discord. And I got dressed up to go out and I actually ended up driving to this cafe where I was gonna meet the girl at. When I got there, I remember I saw this girl and she was outstanding. Luckily, she wasn't a catfish, nothing. So, you know, thank the Lord. And basically me and this girl, we ended up sitting down for our coffee date that we had with each other. I remember she looks at me and says, oh, so, Bubba, why do you call yourself that? Because like your first name's Arash. So like, what's going on there? Oh yeah. So I don't know. People call me Bubba because like, I guess it's like kind of my online name, but also it's my legal middle name. So it's not that weird. Oh, well, like, you know, Bubba means daddy, right? Yeah, no, I know it does. It's just, you know, I'm just so used to being called Bubba. I don't know. It's just different, I guess. Okay, cool. Wait, so what do you do for work again? Now, I'm going to tell you guys a little secret about me. When I meet girls nowadays, I don't tell them I'm a YouTuber. Now, you guys are probably thinking, oh, it's because you tell all your stories about you doing the devil's tango online. And yes, that is partly true. The main reason why I don't say it is because I don't want a girl to instantly just think I'm like this famous dude right as they meet me, because I don't want people to see me as a number or as a following or as a, you know, the next MrBeast. I want people to see me as, well, me, because at the end of the day, I'm still human. So I remember I ended up lying to this girl saying that I was a social media manager. And when I said that, she apparently had a lot of different things to say. Like, for example, she would say, oh, so like you must be super caught up with social media. Yeah, I guess I am. Oh my goodness, that is so cool. Wait, did you see what happened on Twitter today? Oh, I'm guessing you're talking about the thing with Drake, right? Yeah, like it's so crazy that happened to him. Yeah, I mean, well, I guess he dropped a big album. I don't know. At this moment, the girl starts laughing after I said the big album. And I didn't really understand why, because once again, I thought that the hashtag Drake that was trending on Twitter was just about Drake's album that he was dropping, or an album that he dropped. But clearly she started laughing thinking it was some sort of joke, and I didn't understand why. But after she finished giggling, she ended up telling me, well, I mean, I guess you could say Drake's the biggest artist. Am I right? Yeah, he is the biggest artist, actually, is what I said afterwards. And she ended up looking at me as if I was kind of weird for saying that, but I wasn't wrong. Like, statistically speaking, Drake is the biggest rapper right now. Like, I don't know. Prove me wrong in the comments down below if I'm mistaken about this, but from what I know, Drake is the biggest rapper on the planet right now. But after the awkward moment, she ends up looking at me, and her, we started talking about more different things. We started getting along, and we started talking about school and stuff. Now, I'm gonna say this. One of the things that's really hard for me is that since I'm not in high school anymore, it's hard for me to relate to other women when it comes to like basic things like school. school. Because back when I was in high school, like, we were all on the same level of education. We were all learning the same stuff. Hell, we even had classes together and lunch times together. But since real life hit and, you know, we all graduated and now we're all like actually like doing different things, it's really hard to relate to people because, well, I'm a YouTuber and she's a girl still in school. Not like high school, obviously, college, but you guys know what I mean. Like, it's difficult to kind of relate to that. So every time she would talk about school, I would just kind of nod my head and pretend I knew what I was talking about because she thought I was a social media manager. And then one thing led to another. I basically ended up just hearing her out and she thought I was a really good listener to the point where she said, oh, like, Bubba, do you want to like maybe like come over? Like, I don't know. We don't have to stay at the cafe if you want. Yeah, sure. I'm down to come over. And at that moment, I'm not going to lie to you. I knew I was in. I knew the signal of, you know, when a girl just wants to go back to her place and do the Devil's Tango. So me, I instantly basically got ready to go to her place. When me and her, we got inside my car, we started driving down to her apartment that she had near her college. And I remember as we were driving there, my playlist has a lot of Drake music, by the way. And one of the songs ended up playing called Started From the Bottom, Now We're Here. And when that song started playing, I remember she looks at me and she's like, oh my goodness, this is one of Drake's songs. It's actually so funny to listen knowing what happened today. Oh, do you want to like listen to one of his new songs that came out? Oh, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And me, I was confused because she said that the album was really big and it was doing really good, but at the same time, she didn't want to listen to it. At this point, I started getting a little confused, but obviously I didn't think too much of it because once again, I didn't know about the Drake leak and what it actually was at the moment until things got really, really weird. Because once I got back to her apartment, I remember me and her, we kind of like went straight to the bedroom and we started laying down on her bed and she had a TV in her room. So me and her, we started basically cuddling on the bed and watching a movie together. And one thing led to another. We started making out and then that's when, well, I guess we were about to do the Devil's Tango. But right as she saw my eggplant being bricked, she looks at my eggplant. She looks at my eyes right after and says, OMG, Bubba, it's bigger than Drake's. Wait, what did you just say? Is what I said right afterwards. Super confused on why she would bring up Drake's eggplant. And then that's when she told me, oh, like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, it's bigger than Drake's. Yeah, no, I get it. You're saying my eggplant's bigger than Drake's, but why are you bringing up Drake when we're about to do the Devil's Tango? Bubba, did you not understand what I was talking about earlier with like what was happening on Twitter? Yeah, he dropped something big. I knew that. And at that moment, she looks at me right in my eyes and says, Bubba, you know what he dropped, right? It wasn't like an actual drop, like an album. It was a leak. What'd he leak? And at that moment, she gets her phone, she puts it right up to my face, clicks on the hashtag Drake, and she shows me Drake playing with his eggplant and the leak video that came out about him. Now, quick warning to everyone watching this video. I do not advise you guys going and looking at this leak. It is not child friendly in any way, shape, or form. I'm not trying to get demonetized. So this is just a fair warning. Be smart with the internet. Don't look at, you know, online nudity. It is not a good thing. But when she showed me this video, I'm not gonna lie to you. My eyes went wide, knowing how Drake had almost the same eggplant size as me. And she looks at me and says that my eggplant was bigger than Drake's was kind of wild. But I understood what she meant and I just took it as a compliment, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Me and her, yeah, we ended up just doing the Devil's Tango. Anyways. And then I remember after that whole moment, I ended up basically like, you know, going home super late at night when she ended up passing out. And right as I sneak out, I ended up basically calling my friend on my phone that I talked to earlier that day on Discord. And I basically told him when he picked up the phone, yo, bro, are you kidding me right now? You literally told me Drake dropped an album. What? No, I didn't, bro. I said Drake was trending on Twitter. Wait, why are you complaining about this, bro? Well, I saw the video and like, bro, you should have made that more clear. But at the same time, like, who am I to judge someone else for seeing that? I don't really know. It really just became a really awkward situation. And it was really funny how a girl basically said mine was bigger than Drake's. And to this day, I'll forever take that as a really good compliment. Not that you guys will ever find out, but honestly, if you don't believe that my eggplant's bigger than Drake's, then my opinion, just fall for more embarrassing stories just like this one. All right, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today is Wednesday, and I want to post a story regarding the show Wednesday. Now, this story is very recent, and funny enough, it is about Wednesday Addams, and let's just say, I guess some people are really such a big fan of her, to the point where things got really disgusting. Basically, a couple weeks ago, I remember me and my friends were all hanging out together as a group, and one of my friends decided to bring up the show Wednesday. He literally said, have you guys heard of like the show Wednesday of like the Addams family and stuff? Yeah, it's actually really good. You guys should watch it. shit. And in no way am I sponsored by Netflix or anything, but the show was all right. Like, I won't lie to you. It wasn't something crazy. It just seemed like something that my little sisters would watch instead of me. But me being the guy I was, I remember I just started kind of watching the show, and it was actually pretty good. And I remember we all watched as a friend group, and it was not that bad. It just wasn't for me, I'll just say. And before I get all the Wednesday fans in my comments saying, how could you not like the show? The show was so good. Don't get me wrong, Jenna Ortega did pretty good on the show. It was entertaining, and yes, it was really cool. She choreographed a whole dance by herself, but that's not the point of the story. If you guys saw the title of this, you guys would understand that this story gets deeper, okay? And scary deep. I remember after watching a couple episodes, me and my friends decided that some of us liked it and some of us didn't. For the ones who did, well, it was mostly just one person in my friend group that absolutely loved it. And let's just say this person, well, let's just say when it comes to getting a girl, he wasn't really the best at it. No, he wasn't like me or my other buddies where if he really wanted to go do the devil's tango with a girl, we could do it at first glance. He was more the type of person to take things slow and a very long time. To the point where I'm not gonna lie, probably to this day, he still has his V card. And yes, he's around 22. Oh boy. Anyways, going on with the story though, I remember basically after like weeks went by, me and my friends always tried to invite him out to hang out with us and chill with us and all that cool stuff that friend groups usually do. But for some reason, he'd always make an excuse not to come. For example, oh, like my stomach hurts. Oh, to be honest, like I'm not really in the mood to hang out, guys. Oh, yo, I'm actually really busy today. And don't get me wrong, we love the guy to death, but he always seemed busy. So I remember one day, one of my buddies who always makes sure the friend group gets out, decided to do something insane. He literally decided to say, all right, you know what? We're just going to go to this guy's house. We're going to pull him out of his house and have fun with us. Because this is dumb how he's always busy staying inside his house. Like, what could he possibly be doing? I remember everyone agreed and everyone, like, you know, shook our heads and we all just basically said he's right. Because, you know, when a guy decides to stay inside his house for 80% of his life, it gets really depressing. And I should know this because as a YouTuber, I'm inside my house all the time. And when I get the opportunity to go out with either me and my girlfriend or me and the boys, I cherish those moments because you never know when it's going to be your last day. And you don't want your last day to be literally inside your house all day doing nothing. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember basically we all ended up basically getting our things together and getting ready to go see him. And when we did, we all got inside my buddy's van and we drove straight to his place. It wasn't actually his van. It was, funny enough, his mom's van, but it was the only vehicle that could carry all 7 of us at once. Because, you know, we have a pretty big friend group. And by the way, boys, if you're watching this, I love you. Anyways, going on with the story though, I remember we all basically got ready and we started driving over to his house. And when we got there, we realized when we knocked on the door, there was no answer. We were very confused and we were actually just worried about what's going on. But as we kept knocking on the door, there was still no answer. Now at this point, my buddy thought it would be a smart idea to just call him and see what he was doing. So that's what we did. I ended up pulling out my phone and calling his number, and literally as I dialed his number, we waited. It rang twice until we finally got a pickup from him, and basically it was him saying, oh, yo, guys, what's going on? Like, you guys okay? Yeah, dude, where are you? Like, what are you doing? Like, we're trying to hang out with you. Like, what are you doing today? Oh, nothing. I'm at home. I'm just not feeling well. You guys go hang out though. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm actually like really just not in the mood. So you're home? Is what I afterwards said to him. Yeah, I'm home. I just don't want to go out. Okay, is what we ended up saying. And then afterwards he hung up. Now at this point we knew he was home, but for some reason he was not coming out of his house. So what did we decide to do? Well, we decided to figure out what he was doing. Now my friend lives in a pretty nice house. He lives in a nice neighborhood where there was a lot of trees. And if you guys don't know Vancouver, well, there are a lot of trees in Vancouver. So what we decided to do was we decided to get on each other's shoulders and climb up a tree that was nearby. And when we looked over at his window, we saw that he was sitting there with a projector watching something on the big screen. We didn't know what it was because he had a projector at his house, but when we started to look inside his window, my friend started laughing like crazy. I remember I looked at him and said, yo, what's going on? What is he doing? Like, is he actually like not feeling well? Dude, he's watching Wednesday. What? Is what I said afterwards. And then that's when we realized he was watching the show Wednesday on the big projector. Now, I won't lie to you. At first, we didn't care because we thought it was funny. But then we ended up basically throwing a rock towards his window. And then that's when my buddy realized we were outside his house. So I remember he ended up coming downstairs and basically ended up opening the front door and said, okay, what are you guys doing, bro? Like, you guys should have told me you guys were here. And we didn't want to hear it. So I remember we ended up just going inside his house and literally just all of us 7 boys barging in there. And then afterwards, we ended up going upstairs to his room where we saw his gaming setup. And then afterwards, we saw a projector of the show Wednesday. And then we saw a bed with napkins and tissues. And there was also lubricant on the bed. I didn't know what to think, okay? None of us wanted to jump to, you know, suggestions here, but let's just say it looked like he was literally going to be beating his eggplant to Wednesday, the show. And afterwards, I remember we were all kind of just looking around. And you know what the funniest part was? As me and the boys were looking around the room, looking at each other, seeing how awkward this was for him, we ended up actually looking at the show itself, and it was paused on the scene that Jenna Ortega choreographed choreographed herself. And like, you know, don't get me wrong, it was a really good dance, but to be off to it, hey, yo, I don't know, it made no sense, and we were really weirded out. But then afterwards, I remember my buddy looked at us and said, okay, yo, guys, I can explain. It's not like this at all. And then I remember afterwards, we started looking at each other kind of like awkwardly once again, and then that's when it happened. My buddy ended up looking at us, and then afterwards, when we looked behind us, we saw that there was a poster on the door of Jenna Ortega on his like back door, basically. And yeah, it was very interesting because there was a hole cut out on her lip area, and to be honest, I don't know how the thing was sticking to the wall because there was absolutely no thumbtacks sticking the poster to the wall. So unless he's using the devil's cream, I don't really want to know about it. Let's just say the whole situation was awkward, and I will agree we did kind of embarrass him a lot. So I remember what me and the boys decided to do was just leave and go downstairs. We went downstairs of his house. We basically said, yo, bro, get ready, we're gonna go out, we're gonna have a fun time. At that point, I remember he looked at all of us and said, okay, listen, I can explain. Jenna Ortega is like the most attractive girl ever, and like instead of Jenna Ortega, I might as well call her Jenna Orgasm. Okay, he didn't actually say that, but let's just say it was really weird how he basically was beating off to Wednesday. Yeah, I don't know, I guess he always had a thing for emo girls, but you know, at the end of the day, I mean, you know, I guess people are into what they're into. Like I remember I caught my friend one time, you know, beating it off to 2 Girls 1 Cup, which by the way, no one should shut up. By the way, YouTube, don't demonetize this video, I swear. I'm just saying things, all right, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So I know what the title looks like, and I just want to say, honestly, one thing I will say is that being a YouTuber has its perks, but sometimes it absolutely doesn't. And don't get me wrong, I get a lot of attention for being a YouTuber, but hopefully I get nothing like this one. So this story starts off back, I want to say almost a year ago. This is when MrBeast was on his full-on grind and making crazy content. I think this was even before the Charlie Factory video he did. And who doesn't know MrBeast? Obviously, I think every person on the internet knows MrBeast. Like, he's become an official family name. But I remember one time when I was hanging out with my friends and there was a girl beside me just chilling because she was a part of the friend group. I was on my phone playing a game. Actually, did you guys know? Fun fact. Did you know that girls like a guy with games on their phone? Well, I got a game on my phone and it's Raid Shadow Legends. One of the best things about Raid Shadow Legends is that it's available on PC and also on mobile. Like, no joke, I can literally play my game anywhere with my phone and my girlfriend can watch me. One of the awesome things about Raid Shadow Legends is that it's completely free to play, and also on top of that, there are millions of players all over the world. No joke when I say this, you can play this game multiplayer and hang out with a bunch of awesome people, fight bosses, and also PvP with actual players. And also, just for the flex, you can also customize your character in a bunch of different ways and build your champion. And speaking of the champions in this game, there are over 650 unique different ones. And to kick off the new year, there's a fresh update where basically they have the new season's Forge Pass. And did you know it's also Raid Shadow Legends' 4th anniversary, so they're going to be having an awesome Titan event that you guys can join in on. So everyone right now, use the link down below or use the QR code on the screen because there's an awesome starter kit you guys can use to play the game. And when you download the game, make sure you guys open up the left tab and open up promo codes because you guys get a promo code of using Raid Ronda. So everyone should be using this because there is a brand new MMA pro wrestling megastar, Ronda Rousey. You can unlock Raid Ronda by opening Raid Shadow Legends 7 days before February 28th. So right now with the link down below, make sure you guys go download Raid Shadow Legends. All right, anyways, back to the story. So I remember there was a girl beside me, and I remember basically she was like a really big fan of MrBeast because as I was sitting on my phone playing a game, she was literally watching MrBeast videos back to back when we were all hanging out together. Now, I didn't really know the girl that well, but apparently one of my homies found her on Tinder and decided to bring her out with the boys, which is kind of like a red flag, by the way, but you know what? Good for him because I won't lie to you, he's not much of the woman pulling type. Anyways, I remember we were all hanging out and basically my buddy was talking about his truck and the same old because he was like addicted to them. And basically, I remember when I was beside this chick just kind of laying back in my car, she came up to me saying, oh, like, you have a pretty nice car. And I looked at her and I'm like, oh yeah, you know, like I just, you know, work hard and got it. And if you guys don't know what car I drive now, by the way, I drive a Jaguar. You know, I don't like flexing the things I have in this world because I'm gonna be honest, I'm a PNG tuber apparently. So I remember she ended up asking me, since I had a Jaguar, she's like, oh, like, what do you do for work? Like, oh my goodness, like, you have a Jaguar? Like, that's pretty cool. Oh, it's all right, I guess, is what I told her afterwards. And then she told me, oh, but like, seriously, no, like, what do you do? And then I ended up telling her, oh, like, I just make YouTube videos and play video games. There was no way I was gonna tell this girl that I did the Devil's Tango and told it on the internet for a living because that's kind of weird. But then she told me, oh wait, you're a YouTuber? Oh my goodness, like, are you like MrBeast? What is what I told her? I don't know, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that copy MrBeast. Like, it's a very common thing. saying, but in no way do I want to resemble MrBeast. Don't get me wrong, I would love to have a sub count. And if you like this video, maybe one day I'll be closer to becoming the next MrBeast, but in no way am I anything like him right now. So I told her, oh no, like I just play video games. And then she ends up saying, oh, like MrBeast gaming. Oh my goodness, so you are like him. No, I'm not like MrBeast. Not at all. And as I said that with a straight face, she ended up kind of like looking down on me and she's like, oh, okay, whatever. And then she ended up walking away. Now, I found it really odd how she was basically that big of a fan. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people are fans of MrBeast. Like if you're a fan, comment down below because I know I am. But to get to the point where she was basically sounding obsessive, I found really odd. But obviously I let it slide and decided to ignore it. So then after a while, I remember this girl ends up going in front of our friend group because we got pretty bored at the parking lot just sitting looking at our cars. And she's like, hey, like I was just wondering, guys, do you guys want to just come over straight to my place? Like you might as well. It's really cool. We all looked at each other pretty odd because what kind of girl invites 4 guys to go hang out with her at her house? Like, I don't know. Maybe I was giving her the benefit of the doubt, but we were all pretty off. And I remember we all looked at each other and we're like, oh, sure, we can stop by, I guess. And then I remember we all ended up getting in our cars and we ended up driving down. But then I remember for some reason, this Tinder girl didn't want to go with my buddy that originally, you know, found each other on Tinder with. She ended up wanting to go with me. And I remember she ended up getting in my car and said, oh, like, I really want to like just talk to you. And like, you know, I just want to understand YouTube. Sure, I guess. Because don't get me wrong, I don't mind talking about, you know, what I do and stuff. But every time when a person or a girl specifically finds out I'm a YouTuber, they always ask the same question. And I'm not going to say the question yet because it does come up in the story. Anyways, I remember me and her, we got in my car and we started driving down to her place. And she was just giving me the way as I have all my friends, you know, following behind me. My friend ended up texting me saying, yo, it's kind of weird how like you let her go in your car. But like she asked to be in my car. It's not like it's my fault. I don't know. In no way was I breaking the bro code because I wasn't flirting with her, nothing. Obviously, the bro code's a very important thing. Guys, make sure you follow the bro code. If you don't, you're ugly. Anyways, going on, we were driving on the way there. And I remember she was just asking questions about, you know, all these YouTubers and stuff I know. And she's just trying to figure out like, you know, what's my sub count. And she just started searching me up and saw I had a famous birthdays. And then afterwards, she looks at me and she's like, known for having experiences, especially with women. What does that mean? Oh, nothing. I'm just, you know, I'm just a podcast guy is what I told her afterwards. Because like I said, it's kind of weird telling her that I was the master of the Devil's Tango. So I kind of just let it slide. You know what I mean? But then she ended up asking me after she saw my sub count, wait, you have like over like 2 million followers on TikTok? Wait a second. I've seen your character before. Oh my goodness. Like, wait, I have a question. How much money do you make? Bruh, really? I'm sorry. When a person asks you, how much money do you make? It is the most disrespectful thing unless I'm applying for a credit card. There's in no way a good excuse to ask anyone how much money do you make? Because like, what is the point? At the end of the day, we're supposed to enjoy our lives, not talk about how much money we make. Anyways, I remember basically she was talking to me about that and I told her, oh, like, I don't know, just enough, I guess. And I just kept driving. But then she brought up, oh, but like you drive a Jaguar. Okay, you need to stop, okay? Is what I told her afterwards. I said, listen, I really don't care. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Can we just go inside your place? As I start parking into her driveway, she ends up saying, okay, and starts getting all mad at me and stuff. And then she ends up, you know, basically getting out of my car and goes to her house. When we got to her house, I remember we ended up entering her house and we started like looking around and stuff. We were like pretty weirded out because it was a pretty nice house. And then we all ended up sitting on the couch. We all just sitting down, you know, drinking some juice, and we all ended up just hanging out. We started watching some TV, and then I had to go to the bathroom. So I remember I stood up and I asked this girl, I'm like, hey, yo, I was just wondering, like, where's your bathroom at? She ends up saying it's upstairs, like towards the left near her room. And I remember I ended up going up the stairs, and when I did, I turned to the bathroom. But before I went inside the bathroom, I saw her room. At first, I didn't believe it was her room because it was super weird because I remember I took a glimpse in there, and the amount of posters with MrBeast on there is insane. And then I remember I was looking around, I see MrBeast merch everywhere. I see a MrBeast like tiger pillow. Like, she was the biggest fan I've ever seen. And then when I saw her gaming setup, which was by the way really cool because girls having a gaming setup is like super rare, but seeing her have one, I remember I ended up moving her mouse out of curiosity to see what was the last thing she was looking at. It was literally MrBeast, and like she was watching a MrBeast video, and the other monitor was legit a photo of MrBeast and Carl. Okay, listen, I don't know what this girl was thinking, but then afterwards I remember I decided to like, you know, stand up and start going, and I was gonna leave, but then afterwards I accidentally hit my foot on like the corner of her bed, and I stubbed my toe and it hurt really badly. So I remember I kneeled down and I started holding my big toe because it hurt. But as I was sitting down on the ground, I look under her bed, and what I pull out is a toy. But this is no ordinary toy. This is a Devil's Tango toy. But for some reason on the toy, it was engraved, Jimmy, my love, MrBeast. Why would you engrave that in your own eggplant? Devil's Tango toy. That is ultimately the most disgusting thing in the world. So then I remember I stood up and I'm like, okay, this is grossing me out. And then afterwards, I see her bedside table, and it literally has a photo of MrBeast, and it literally has lipstick on his lips from when she, I guess, makes out with this picture. I have no idea. I was grossed out. At this point, I didn't want to think about it. And nor did I want to know what she did with the MrBeast pillow, okay? I don't even want to think about it, all right? I didn't even know MrBeast had that much merch. I'm gonna be honest with you, okay? I just didn't know what to think. So then I try leaving, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna get out of the room, go straight to the bathroom, because I still had to go. So I remember I started leaving the room, and as I left the door, no joke, the girl was literally right in front of me saying, what are you doing in there? I remember I looked at her, and I'm like, oh, nothing. I was just chilling, you know? She looks at me again. She's like, okay, sure, whatever. And then I go inside the bathroom, I take the bathroom break, and I go back downstairs. And when I went back downstairs, the guys were already planning on leaving, which is a good thing, because I didn't want to be there anymore. It was pretty weird. So then I remember all the boys ended up going outside. We all ended up going back to our cars. And I remember when I sat in my car, I look at my wrist and I see the bracelet that my dad gave me. If you guys don't know, my dad gave me a bracelet. Basically, it's like a symbolization of like family. And it's basically, you know, an award thing I got for, you know, basically blowing up on the internet. Thanks to you guys, by the way. I'll show you guys the bracelet. If you guys ever come on stream, you guys can check it out. And then I remember I look at my wrist and I see it's not there. So I start panicking. I'm like, oh no, I have to go get this. So I remember I got out of my car, I knocked on the door, but no one was answering. So I decided to open the door and go upstairs myself and go get it, because I know I left it in her room. So that was the only time I kneeled down. And when I went to her room, I opened the door and I see her playing a MrBeast video on her second monitor. And literally, she was laying on the bed playing with a Devil's Tango toy, screaming, oh my god, Jimmy, yes. Okay, I'm sorry, I had to sound like that. That sounds so weird, but you guys know what I mean. Anyways, that ended up happening, and she sees me in the corner of her eye. She's like, oh my goodness, what are you doing here, Baba? Are you like seriously stalking me? Yo, I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to get this right now. I ended up kneeling on the floor, getting my bracelet, and I sprinted out of that house so quick. You guys thought I did the Devil's Tango. Nah, dude, she wanted Jimmy. I ain't Jimmy. I'm Bubba. So I ended up sprinting out of there. I literally left. I got in my car, started the Jaguar, and I dipped. Yeah, it was the most weirdest experience ever, and it was super embarrassing, but don't get me wrong, when is my life not embarrassing? Anyways, guys, that's basically it for today's story. Make sure you do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and like I always say, just follow for more embarrassing stories. All right, peace out, guys.